Hello, fellow wrestling crusaders, and welcome to another episode. My name's Sean Wasserkrug. With me, as always, is Jordan JPO Owens with a new haircut.
That's me, and it's still me. I swear.
Well, we've been gone a couple weeks. We missed Backlash. I didn't realize that we didn't shoot Backlash until this week. I was like, oh shit, we did not talk about Backlash at all.
Predictable
but we are
but
here.
fun.
What's that?
Predictable but fun. There's my review.
Exactly. I mean, there was literally nothing shocking from that show. I thought the France crowd was energetic and fun. Apparently, it pissed off some people. Apparently, some people were annoyed. Oh, yeah. You would be surprised how people were fucking annoyed with the France crowd because they wouldn't shut up. It's like, that is what you want.
I didn't hear any of that. What are fans listening to are douches.
I've heard plenty of people complain because they're treating it like it's a football match. This is pro wrestling. It's like any person who is a pro wrestler, an actual pro wrestler, as long as they're not chanting boring or silent or what or CM Punk when CM Punk's not out there is a good thing. If they are singing and chanting and everything and they're getting louder as you're wrestling a fucking match, that's all good. That's good. That's added adrenaline to a wrestler. The way they acted when Naomi came out and Jay and Cody and all of them, that is a wrestler's dream. And them constantly going during the show, if anything, that makes it easier for you to talk to the other wrestlers so they can't hear your ass when you're going over spots. Like, nothing about that crowd was bad. Now,
if you have a problem with the crowd, you just simply don't get it.
Yeah. Now, when they went back to the U.S., that first crowd back, not great. You know, doing all the whats and everything, which I'm actually liking that the wrestlers are actually fighting back on the whats now, which I'm actually happy with. Because, I mean, we didn't get a single what in France. Now, granted, they could have been saying what. We wouldn't have understood what they were saying. But it's just, oh, God. American fans are so fucking annoying to a point. It's just, the what chants are the worst fucking things ever. And I can't stand it. But we are here talking about King and Queen of the Ring. That's this Saturday in Jeddah. Say what you will about the what?
Quoi?
Is that what is there?
What in French? Yeah. So I don't know if they hit it. Quoi? Quoi?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't think they ever chanted that because there was like no promos through all Backlash. It was just match. And I should know because I was doing fantasy for us. And I was like, damn it, there's no promo stuff. I can't get any promo points for this show, which we'll talk about the fantasy stuff after we're done talking about King and Queen of the Ring. But yeah, like I said, they're in Jeddah. I know a lot of people hate these pay-per-views. I'm not necessarily a fan of them, but if we get more wrestling, I'm not mad at it. I don't necessarily care for the location. I hate that the women have to be dressed up basically fully clothed. Not that they need to be like underdressed. I feel like they feel uncomfortable when they're wrestling because
at least it's improved. I don't know if they just didn't have time or they didn't or what. But remember the first times they did it, they just wore like 5XL t-shirts.
Well, yeah, it basically felt like a Survivor Series where it was like, oh, Team Raw, Team SmackDown, wear your red and blue. But yeah, now they've gotten better with it.
At least now they usually They usually at least have like gear now where like sometimes it looks kind of dope actually, and then sometimes doesn't. It always depends. Like I know like Charlotte's missed a couple times. Like Rhea's had cool gear before and like whatnot. So
I just always feel like they feel uncomfortable because they're not used to wrestling in long sleeves and they're not used to wearing.
It's something different. Yeah.
I'll even admit when I've had to do that when I've wrestled where I had to like dress. Like in disguise, and then all of a sudden I'm out there wrestling in like pants and like a fucking like jacket. Like I was like, I don't have the range of motion that I'm used to, and it sucks. And I'm sure it kind of feels that way to them, but I'm sure they go out there and they rehearse a little bit so that way they get a little bit more comfortable. But I've always just felt bad for them doing that. But
I'm not sure. I mean, I would imagine maybe if they got their gear, maybe they did it in the States a little bit. But I mean, by the time you get there and all the travel and any public appearances, like I bet you there's not that much time to really, go over that new gear.
Well, I mean, aren't they in Jeddah for SmackDown? They have to be because there's no way they can.
Did they add SmackDown this year? Okay.
Well, they have to because they haven't shot SmackDown yet. It's not pre-taped because we would have already known the results, and we don't yet. They're already in Jeddah because I've already seen photos of them like hanging out at the beach and all that kind of stuff. But they got to shoot SmackDown on Friday, and of course they got to finish the King of the Ring matches so we know. And then like if SmackDown is at 7:00 or 8:00 for you, and then the pay-per-view's at noon or 1:00 the next day, there's no way for them to fly there without getting some serious fucking jet lag. So they gotta be in Jeddah for SmackDown.
Unless they're doing the B show SmackDown.
But the problem is that you can't. Cody and Logan are there, and then you got Randy and Tama got to finish theirs. Nia and Bianca, they have to finish their King of the Ring matches and Queen of the Ring matches, so they can't really.
I know have a solid card. Yeah, that's true. I think it's too much of a flight because I know they finagled it before. Where like to save a couple people over before they could travel and do the final trip, but.
Because I would think I don't know exactly what the time difference is. I'm assuming because the show is going to be at 1:00 your time and 12:00 my time, that's probably about a 7-hour difference. So like if they were shooting SmackDown here in the States, it's 7 hours later in Jeddah. I mean that's oh god, they're going to be basically getting no time to rest before they have to go out there and wrestle again. I mean, they're going to be on the plane, but planes, they're not comfortable at all. So they have to be doing the show in Jeddah, or at least maybe a smaller venue.
No, they are. It's Friday the 24th in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. I was like, because the whole time I was like watching Raw, I was like, are they pre-taping SmackDown, or are they going there for? Which it makes sense that they would do it there. They get more money that way. So logically, it makes sense.
I mean, and they're there, like you said. Now they don't have to. Mess around. So
exactly. One real quick thing on Backlash before we jump into King Queen of the Ring. Did you notice there was barely any kids in that Backlash crowd? There was like I was about halfway through the show, and I was like, man, they're really not like paying into any children. Because it got to the point where I started actually searching. I maybe caught 5 kids under the age of 13 in the crowd during that show. I even had my girlfriend watching. I was like, do you see any kids in the crowd? And I was like, well, there's one, like he maybe could be over 10, but it was like there was no like kids in that crowd. It's
their French demo. All right.
Yeah, maybe because and then she brought up that maybe in that area, maybe they have to be a certain age because of the noise levels and stuff like that to be in the arena. It might be something that happens over there. Because I mean, the ones I did see all had headsets on for the noise level because they kept breaking the sound barrier basically when they were there. But yeah, it was really weird. If you ever get time, go back and rewatch Backlash. I don't really see any kids at all in that crowd. It was really weird. What's that?
No, just saying. Yeah, where are the kiddies?
It's just like that's WWE's whole demo. His kids. Now, granted, they're starting to get away from that, but it was just a weird thing I started to notice. It was like, oh no, it's all adults and like people over 16. But we're talking about King and Queen of the Ring. I really wish they're never going to do it again, which sucks. I really wish they would go back to the one-night tournaments. Like, give me that old school King of the Ring where the whole show is just the tournament itself. Hell, give me an old school WrestleMania 4 where it's like fucking like all 16. Yeah, like the matches are gonna be quick. I get it, but then you can build stories. You can build stories with that because of the injuries. Because like they keep doing that. They keep selling injuries through this tournament. It's like you guys realize they're getting like over a week to like rest these injuries up. These injuries don't really matter in the scheme of things. But if it was a one-night tournament, Bianca injuring her knee actually makes more of a storyline standpoint than it is, oh, Bianca hurt her knee last Friday. Okay, cool. Yeah. She's got to rest.
She'll get to rest.
Exactly. It's like
I would suggest. I was really hoping we're going to get like the semis. And
exactly. I was hoping for that too because even if we're talking about fairness in terms of the storyline, Gunther and Lyra have had a week to heal up before their final, whereas Nia, Bianca, and Randy and Tama are going to have less than 24 hours to rest before their final. So it's like, in terms of fairness, that's not fair. but yeah, I would have really liked to have had, just so that way there was more matches on the card, because there's only 5 matches on this card unless they add more, the day of.
They usually, at least for these Saudi shows, usually they were always like pretty packed. You know
Yeah, I figured we would have had, hell, they just if Bianca wins, they can't do it. But I was like, they just got number one contenders for the tag team, for the women's tag team belts. They could have had that match if Bianca doesn't win on Friday. The men, they just did their title match on Monday, so they can't do that now.
Just set up DIY possibly versus A-Town Down Under. Let's throw that in there. I don't know.
Yeah, there's.
But this is a perfect example. They could have done the semifinals. So, why not?
Yeah, even Backlash. I think Backlash is in like 5 or 6 matches too. It's like, do they feel like that the out of US crowd doesn't want shows? Because we do.
it's 5, and I'm sorry. You could slightly argue that AEW overdoes it. AEW's underdoing it now, or WWE's underdoing it now.
Yeah, it's like we got 5 matches for Queen of the Ring. We got 10 for Double or Nothing. We're getting double the show.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. For my time, for my money, I guess obviously I can't quite say money's worth because it's a different price point, but for my time, I'd rather be overindulged than underindulged.
Exactly. Because it's like, okay, cool. That means these guys are all probably going to get a good 15, 20 minutes for their match. But even AEW, you're getting your time. I don't think anyone ever really gets under 10 minutes on AEW's pay-per-view.
No, it's usually the rare occasion of more of a a storyline match, or for instance, we had the women's match last time was shorter because Freaky Girl, Julia Hart. Julia Hart was hurt, so her match. Freaky Girl.
Freaky Girl. Well, I've never. I was like, what?
Her name was for a second.
I'm never gonna not see her now and immediately think Jordan going Freaky Girl.
Freaky Girl. She's a cheerleader, but now she's freaky.
She basically turned Alexa Bliss on us. That's all she really did.
Yeah, but not as good. Sorry, story-wise, anyway.
No. I agree. I love Alexa Bliss, so trust me, I'm not gonna fight you on that. Julia's still.
No, I'm just saying, Alexa not really sold it from Miss Bliss to why. I think I bought it all times. Julia, I was in a little trouble believing was really.
I think that's more age than anything. She's like 21.
Yeah.
Give her a few more years of character build stuff. I do think that her joining House of Black definitely increased her ability and her character, because she was just like, oh, generic, cheerleader girl. I don't really care. And I felt the same way about Alexa too. I was like, oh, pretty cheerleader, but okay. And then she turned into what she did, and I was like, all right, wow, she's taking this and running with it.
Which not to do a segue of a segue, but more QR codes popping up. So,
Yes, which makes me wonder, when do you actually think that this is finally going to start? Obviously the QR codes are getting bigger and bigger and more story driven, but when do you actually think we're finally going to see? Some people are calling it the Wyatt 6. I'm more inclined to call it the Wyatt 6 right now until we actually know what they're actually going to call it. But when do you think we're finally going to get it?
How much more can you milk the QR code thing? Another month? I don't know.
It's gotten to the point now that they're talking about it on TV, because I feel like they're thinking that people aren't paying attention to it. I feel like they're like, hey guys, just pay attention to these QR codes. So it's like, hey guys, why don't you start talking about it so people actually know that this is a legit thing? Because my girlfriend catches it and she's like, hey, we missed one, and we have to go back and rewind it and check it and stuff like that. But now that Pat and Corey and Wade and all them are actually talking about it, I would hope we're sooner rather than later. We could very well see it on Saturday. I don't think we will. If anything, I probably think maybe the next pay-per-view after King Queen. I
think it'll simply be on Raw or SmackDown. I feel like they don't always do great story advancement on pay-per-views. They really don't.
I'm trying to remember. Do we ever really get the QR codes on SmackDown? I feel like they're always on Raw.
Oh no, that's a good point.
Are they on both?
I was saying TV in general, but yeah, no, this does seem to be more of a Raw thing. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was wondering, where are they going to go? I would like them to go to SmackDown, so that way there's just more bodies over there. But I always feel that way because Raw's a 3-hour show. But it's we already have enough stables.
Yeah. We're still waiting for Odyssey Jones.
What's that?
We're still waiting for Odyssey Jones.
Odyssey Jones is never gonna. He's a oh god. What's his name? Veer
is coming. least Veer came.
But at least with Odyssey Jones, he's not getting vignettes saying he's coming. He's just
one of my favorite tweet responses is because WWE like Twitter was like happy birthday, it was his birthday recently, and the first tweet response was, I'm convinced this guy doesn't even exist. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I swear you guys are just made up this human being.
Yeah. And then he showed up and he like was dominant for like 3 weeks, and then they just kind of threw him into a tag match and then just released him. Like, I actually felt bad for him.
Oh, well, you're talking about Veer again now, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Veer.
Okay, I was like, when the fuck did Odyssey Jones show up? What?
No, I didn't know if you were talking about Odyssey or Veer, so I just kept going with Veer.
No. The Odyssey one was like people were like convinced that he doesn't exist because this is now the second year he's been drafted, and we've yet to have a match. Unlike even Zion Quinn and what's his bucket, Von Wagner were in a battle royal once, so there was at least like an appearance. Odyssey Jones hasn't done anything. He fought Dijak on NXT. I want to say I looked it up March of last year, and then it hasn't been on TV since.
I hope Dijak shows up soon. I mean, I was excited when I saw he was on the main roster, but
I was always worried though because again it was a supplemental one, so obviously it shows you that they're still not like.
It was supplemental, but they at least like showed footage of him being drafted, kind of thing. It wasn't like honestly, got drafted. Yeah, no, they actually did him like he was in the NXT like ring, and they like interviewed him and gave him a shirt. So they actually like gave him the actual like footage of him being drafted, unlike everybody else. And then of course Blair Davenport, I think she popped up like backstage talking to like Nick for like 2 seconds, and like that's all we've seen of her since the draft. So hopefully, they're gonna eventually start popping up because they're both prime wrestlers and they deserve to be put in stuff. Hell, since they moved Baron Corbin to SmackDown, which that bummed me out because I was really hoping for the War Dogs as a team with Braun. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Braun's doing his own thing right now. But I wouldn't mind seeing Dijak and Braun being together. Like, put those two together. Just let them run roughshod over Raw. But back to the tournament. What have your thoughts been on the tournaments so far with the King and Queen of the Ring?
I think I lost you. Say that again.
I said, what have your thoughts been on the tournament so far for both the King and the Queen of the Ring?
I mean, not too bad. I think they've picked an okay crop here, and at least there's been focus on it. That's all I kind of asked for. It does seem to be kind of the focus of TV recently, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's in the title of the show. We've had since King of the Ring's been off pay-per-view since 2002. There's been times where it's just been like an add-on to No Mercy this year, or we're gonna just do it on Raw real quick. So I kind of like that at least it's the focus of a pay-per-view. So I'm cool with that because I do miss the tournament. I miss the fact I'm a tradition guy, so I kind of like the fact that this was to me this was one of the big five back in the day. You know what I mean?
Oh, it was one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year.
Too. Yeah, and like you, I like the years in '93 and even not that '95 was a good tournament, but at least there was several tournament matches. You know what I mean? 2002.
I always remember Kama versus Shawn Michaels in '95 when they went to a draw.
Why couldn't it be Shawn in the final?
I agree. I am, like I said, I want it to be a one-night thing. I know that's never going to happen anymore, but I've loved, like in a total agreement with you, I love that this has become the focal point of the shows the last 3 weeks. They're the main events. They actually put big names in it now. It doesn't just feel like Intercontinental tournament or a U.S. title tournament where it's all like the mid-card guys. Like, no, we got the fucking main eventers in this shit. Now, I was a little annoyed when we first got the brackets and then like 5 of the people in the tournaments all got removed because of injuries. Now, I would have loved to have seen what the original plan was when Drew and Asuka and I'm blanking on the others that were knocked out of the tournament due to injury. I would have loved to have seen what they ended up doing with that. I think all of us really, really wanted a Gunther and Dragunov, but I was like, no, they're not going to. But once you found out that they were not going to do the semifinals on the pay-per-view, I pretty much knew 1,000% that Dragunov wasn't winning. So like, they're not going to give that match away on Raw. That's going to be a pay-per-view match.
I'm going to get it for.
But I love that they. I love that they did a full 8-man tournament or 8-person tournament on both Raw and SmackDown. It wasn't just 4 guys and girls on Raw, 4 guys and girls on SmackDown. They did a full on their own tournament. So I mean, Gunther and Lyra are the Raw champs, and then we're gonna find out who the SmackDown champs are later this week. I like that we got basically 4 full on tournaments, which is something they've never done before. So I do love that, and I love that they're giving the kind of the pomp and circumstance of everything. Like they're giving them the vignettes. They're giving them previously on the King of the Ring tournament. Here's what happened. They're giving this thing the proper fucking treatment. I'm so happy with it. Now, my worry, and I think it's your worry, I think it's everyone's worry whenever they do the King of the Ring tournament, is I hope to God whoever does win doesn't keep this King Gunther for 6 to 8 months where he's walking around with a crown and a scepter and all that shit. It only worked for Booker T, guys. Booker T was the only one to pull this thing off and actually make it work, and that's mainly because of Charmel. It wasn't because of everything else. Because I mean, it really does kill characters by them making them walk around. Money in the Bank's one thing, but having them walk around with a scepter and a crown and a robe just takes everything out of them. Just let them win it like a one-night tournament, like Stone Cold. He won it, and then the next night on Raw, he was just fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I still agree. I still think to this day the winner of these tournaments should be getting title shots at SummerSlam. I feel like that should always have been the goal. I feel it's in May now. This is back when they would do it in June, July. But I felt like whoever wins the tournament should be getting the title shot at SummerSlam. And then you give them July to kind of build the story up. And then in August you have it. Because, I mean, this is a tournament. It's a tournament for a reason. Let's have the winner actually earn something outside of just being king, queen, whatever. Let them actually earn a title shot for the champ. And that's always been my thought process with it. Going to SmackDown, we've got
real quick too. I want to add one kudos that already for sure this Queen of the Ring tournament is longer than last year's or the last time we did it was Zelina. Remember the entire tournament was under 20 minutes.
Yes, it was. I think I remember almost even calculating that. I was like every match is less than 2 minutes long, and I think they said it was this past week.
It this time.
Yeah, Lyra and Io was just I think it was 19 minutes and 38 seconds, which they're saying is the longest women's match in 2 years that wasn't a WrestleMania match. It's longer than any AEW women's match. It's longer than any WWE women's match that wasn't on a pay-per-view. It was some weird thing they were posting all those weeks that Lyra and Io went longer than any women's match in AEW.
Wow, history. Yeah. I didn't even know that because, like I said, I actually skipped Raw. I just watched clips. 1916 is pretty fucking nuts.
Yeah, they went longer than Gunther and Jay.
And trust me, as a time nerd, they do not have 20-minute women's matches on TV.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I said they let them
go.
They let them go.
Who knows? All right. So
and honestly, the start of the match was rough, but after the first commercial break, they found their gear because it's one of those. And even my girlfriend who doesn't know wrestling like I do, she was even going. It feels very much like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and it's just very much they're going slower because Lyra's new and Io's really fast. It felt very Io had to slow down for Lyra, but then once commercial break and once Io took over the match, they were good the rest of the way. It was that first 3 minutes. It felt very slow paced and very choreographed, which I know that's a weird thing saying. But there's certain matches you feel I feel like every time we watch Anna Jay, it feels very much like that. She just feels like she has to. Every spot is planned, and she's trying to get into the position for it, and it's very plotty. I do like Anna Jay, but I feel like every one of her matches, that's what it's like. But yeah, the Lyra and Io went out there and put on a show.
And I was just say, just looking at Lyra alone, hasn't had a match less than 8.5 minutes. So yeah, definitely giving a little more time majorly the tournament this year, which is good.
I was pissed that we did lose a couple matches to live events though.
Oh yes, I definitely want to speak on that real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a show called Main Event. If you don't have enough time on TV, Like, maybe make that show matter. Like, why are these on? Why the fuck are these on house shows?
I don't know, but if anything, it just made it very, very easy to pick who was going to win the matches. Because
I felt like they kind of built up like LA Knight and Santos. Like they kind of had both of them had promo time about it. Like, and the fact that we didn't get the full match, I think sucks. And also to me is a disservitude to Santos and LA's win.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, and I feel like this. If there is one negative to the tournaments this year, and that's me just nitpicking this, every match has been pretty predictable on who's gonna win because of storylines. This is a very storyline driven tournament. Both of these are, and that was always kind of the one cool thing about the King of the Ring is that they weren't storyline driven. So you could have random upsets and
sure.
stuff like that, but you can pretty much guarantee who's winning what based off of the characters. Like I'm gonna call this right now. I think now because Gunther, I said this even before Raw. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, I pretty much already know what the finals for the men's is gonna be. And she's like, what? I go, well, if Jay wins, Tama Tonga is 1,000% beating Randy. I go, if Gunther wins, then Randy's beating Tama Tonga because we're not going to have Gunther versus Tama Tonga because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And same thing kind of goes with the women's side. If Lyra wins, then we're probably getting Nia Jax because it's going to be a big, hey, how can Lyra handle? You could still do Bianca just because Lyra's the rookie. What can she do against?
That is possible. Yeah, a good
if Io won, then it was 1,000% going to be
the heel one. Yeah.
Yeah. But Bianca and Nia could still go either way because Lyra's just the rookie. She's the underdog in this whole tournament. So you could still have Bianca win that match.
Yeah.
And then it's, hey, can Lyra beat, the former champ kind of deal. I still think it's going to be Nia because then it's like, hey, can Lyra take down Nia Jax? But the men's, I feel like, is 100% locked in. It's going to be Randy versus Gunther because there's just no reason to have Tama and Gunther in a match with each other because it's like you're definitely going to be rooting for Gunther, at that point. With Randy. Plus, I would love to watch that match anyway. I want to see Randy and Gunther go. Do you think Randy's going to take those chops?
Ooh,
Randy's one of those guys, man. Like I love Randy, but Randy's not one of those guys who's just going to stand there and like Gunther chop the shit out of him. And if he does. Because I mean, even when Randy wrestled Brock, like Brock didn't like suplex city bitch him that whole match. Like they kind of just like Randy got his fucking elbow caved into his skull in like less than 5 minutes. But that I'm intrigued by that match. If it ends up being Gunther and Randy, which I think it's about like 90% certain that it's going to be that.
Yeah.
I really am excited for that matchup. The women's, it can go either way. What are your thoughts?
No, it could definitely go either way. No, I was going to say the one thing I meant to go backtrack a long time ago. I actually kind of like when it's the IC title tournament or it's the IC, you know what I mean? Because I like the fact that it's crowning a new guy, crowning a new woman. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I love the fact that Randy Orton's in this. I don't know if I love the fact that even Gunther is in this and probably going to win it because I just feel like they're already established. I like the fact that I like the years when it sets up an Owen Hart. I mean, obviously we know what happened to Mabel, but then like a Stone Cold or a Triple H. I like those years. To me, that's how it should be. It should be a
I like them too, but
just cool. Gunther, who just came off a legendary IC title reign, it doesn't elevate him anymore, and I'm sure she won't elevate Randy.
Yeah, no, I like it too. It's just I think this year they just need to really have that star power behind it to show, hey, the King of the Ring is important, especially if they do something like a title shot out of the deal. Which, like I said, they haven't said they weren't going to do it, but they haven't said they were doing it. But no, I do like it when it's more of a mid-card thing as well. But, like, I think, was it the King of the Ring when Xavier won it? It just felt, like, random. And it also felt like, oh, here's this random NXT guy. And it's like, well, he's not winning. It's like, give me some people who actually could win these matches. Like, I was surprised. Was Ricochet not in this?
Round 1 with Ilya, right?
That's right. He lost to Io. Like there were certain people that were not in the tournament. I was like, wow, I'm surprised they're not in it. Like, why wouldn't they be in this match?
They were saving them, just like they pretty much admitted it with Braun Breaker. He wasn't in it because he wasn't in it.
Like, And we haven't seen Kevin Owens. Kevin didn't need to be in the tournament, but I'm just saying we haven't seen Kevin Owens basically since the tournament started. So if anything, it's been giving a lot of other wrestlers rest because they haven't been needed on TV because the tournament has taken over the show, which is very AEW of them. So I'm actually, it's kind of something that WWE's kind of taken from AEW. It's like, hey, the tournament's going to be the focal point, which is what they did with the Continental Classic, which I loved last year and you did too. But yeah, so are you locking in as well? Do you think it's going to be Gunther and Randy and then Lyra and then Nia, or you think it's going to go off differently?
I mean, Gunther, Randy, lock that in. I feel like almost assuredly. You know what I mean? Like I said that last night with my buddy when we were watching, catching up on stuff. I think there's a possibility Bianca goes to the finals.
So then, who do you have winning the whole thing in both those matches?
That's the thing that throws it off too. Yeah, is that you then put Lyra so over them. So no, I'll stick with Lyra and Nia because I kind of want, again, personally, the newer comer to get it. Because then if you put Bianca in it, I'm afraid Bianca will just win, which I don't want.
Yeah, Bianca being in the tournament was the one. Like you were saying how Gunther shouldn't have been in it. I didn't think Bianca had any business being in this tournament.
No.
She was the one outlier because she wasn't. Because I remember. I think it was like the Wednesday before the first matches were announced. She was not in the tournament. She wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I looked at the matches and I was like, oh, okay, these are some decent matches. And then like SmackDown came and all the matches were different. And I was like, why is Bianca in this? And then I was like, oh, well, Jade's 1,000% winning this thing. I was like, because Jade's in the tournament, Jade's not going to lose. But then I like that they actually did do the swerve there by giving Jade the DQ loss. But yeah, so do you think you have if Nia or Bianca, you think if Bianca wins, then Bianca's winning the tournament, but if Nia wins, you think Lyra's going to win, or do you think Nia's going to win?
I'm going to go Lyra no matter what.
You think Lyra's going to pull off the upset no matter what?
Lyra, yeah, I'm hope so because I just
it's not because you have her in fantasy.
No. I honestly don't even think of that. I swear, I don't keep that in mind. That's what my heart wants as a fan and a booker is that Bianca, who's currently already holding a title as a former multi-time champ, future champ, doesn't need this accolade. Nia could even use this accolade more, to be honest with you. I think there's actually an outside possibility Nia defeats Lyra. That's not out of the realm.
That's what I honestly think is going to happen. I think Nia's going to win.
Now that I said that, I'm like, wait, hold on. Let me think about that for a second.
Yeah, I honestly think that Nia is going to win because of the knee injury to Bianca on Friday night. And then it's going to be a hard-fought match for Lyra, but she's just not ready yet because she's new. And Nia's just going to use her power, which then will give a reason for Nia to go after Bayley for a title match. So, yeah, I think if Nia wins, then Nia is going to 100% win the tournament, which I think does make logical sense. Now, I have nothing against if Lyra does win. But, man, you are pushing her like a fucking rocket ship right now. She goes through this tournament, beating Io and then beating either Bianca or Nia. That's a huge, huge push for Lyra Valkyrie. But, yeah, Nia, to me, makes the most logical sense. Now, for me, on the men's side, Gunther versus Randy, it makes the most logical sense that Gunther will win. I don't think Randy needs the crown.
This seems to be the biggest lock, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like Gunther is just locked into this tournament the whole way. But the thing is, here's my main wonder with this match is we pretty much are almost locked in. Both of you and I are both locked in. It's going to be Randy versus Gunther. Does Gunther beat Randy clean, or does Bloodline attack Randy, which helps Gunther with the win?
No, Gunther gets it clean.
Gunther goes clean.
I feel like they've done that majority of the time with him. Like he wasn't a very dirty IC win.
He had help to beat Sheamus because Ludwig helped him beat Sheamus. But yeah, I think it would mean more if Gunther goes over clean on Randy. But I could see, if Randy ends up beating, Tama, I could still see Bloodline getting involved and causing Randy the match. But I mean, I think it would be huge for the Gunther character. Not that he needs any more clout that he already has, because Gunther is already like right fucking here. But I mean, I think winning that match straight up on Randy would be fantastic for Gunther. Randy winning, I wouldn't be like mad, but it'd be like, why? It's the same thing with like Bianca.
That's almost why I would be mad. I'd be like, why? Seriously, why? Prove me wrong.
Yeah, Bianca wins the whole thing. I'm gonna be like, what's the point? With Randy, I can only see him doing his like a kind of like with Cody and Logan is like, well, Randy's never won it before, so let's let Randy have it, kind of thing.
Fuck that.
Yeah,
Fuck
I
that.
know. No. I'm saying, but that's where the only thought process I can think of on why they would let Randy win that.
Doesn't need the king in the ring. Stop it.
He doesn't. But I'm like, that's the only logical reason I could think of for why they would let Randy win the match. So you're locked in at Lyra winning regardless, or are you gonna go with Nia?
I'm gonna go Lyra because I feel like my other kind of quick hesitation is, do we have big strong Gunther and big strong Nia? And I feel like that's almost too samey.
Yeah, but at least then you would have a SmackDown and a Raw champ, or King, Queen. Whereas if Lyra and Gunther win, then it's all Raw.
Yeah, that's also a good counter. Damn it.
Yes, there are total counterpoints here. This is why we work well together, because we think this shit out.
That's a good, it's a good counterpoint. Yeah, now you have 2 shows with their own King and Queen. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. I hope to God. I've never wanted Bianca to lose. I've never wanted Nia Jax to win more and Bianca to lose more than I do this Friday.
Weirdly enough, I would prefer, because again, I'm just a big like spread the love kind of guy. I would prefer Nia to win over Bianca. I really would. Actually.
I don't think I've ever wanted Nia to win more in my life, because I honestly can't stand Nia, but I never wanted her to win more. Sticking with the women, we got Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. I thought we were going to get this at Backlash. We didn't, which is why I drafted Liv Morgan for the fantasy, because I thought she was going to win right away and then like be champ, and then Becky was going to go on vacation. Do you have Becky keeping the belt here, or do you think Liv's going to take the title?
Nah, Becky's going to keep it.
Becky's going to keep it? Well, I still am going to stand with what I said back when we did the draft. I still think that Liv is going to take the belt. I feel like Liv's going to be champ, and Liv is going to ride this belt pretty much until Rhea comes back, which may be sooner rather than later. It might not be a huge title reign for Liv. Plus, they're already planting these seeds. I don't know if you caught it on Raw. Or actually, no, you didn't get to catch Raw, so you didn't catch it. Right? Because you're doing the where everyone's like showing up, walking into the arena kind of thing. And I want to say it was when Jay was walking into the arena. Behind him, you see you see Finn Balor and Liv getting out of the same vehicle. So Liv has already been seen with Dom, and Liv's now been seen with Finn. So it looks like Liv is like infiltrating Judgment Day, which makes all the sense in the world. So I feel like Liv is going to win this match, and then they're going to start setting up for Rhea to come back, hopefully by SummerSlam. I guess it depends on her healing, but I feel like SummerSlam she'd be ready to be back based off the injury. If she doesn't win, then I really don't know what storyline they got planned for Becky, unless Lyra is the next step because of how dominant she's been in the tournament. I really don't know where we go with if Becky wins the match. That's just thinking storyline thought process. I really can't figure out where they're going to go with that. But you got Becky winning, and I've got Liv winning. Triple threat match, IC title. Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed. I could see this match going 2 ways, but I want to hear your thoughts first. Where are you going with it?
I can see this match going 3 ways. I think this is one slightly hard to call, honestly.
You think Bronson has the chance to win this?
You want to know what I think?
What do you think?
That's my legit prediction.
If
I have to decide, Bronson sneaks away with the belt. Yeah.
Really? I feel like Bronson's there to take the pin. I really do. Which sucks.
Quite possible.
I love Bronson Reed. I would love it if Bronson won. I would not be mad by any means. I would not be mad if Bronson won the match. I think it's going to go 1 of 2 ways. I think either Gable's going to win, which fuck yeah, and then this Otis Gable Alpha Academy thing is going to ride into the summer, or Sammy's going to win because Otis turns on Chad, which I feel like is too soon. I feel like they need to kind of let this breathe more. if I had my pick, I want Chad to win because I just fucking want Chad to win the belt. So I would love for Chad to win and keep writing this. You didn't catch it because you didn't watch Raw, but after Chad beat Sami 1-on-1, Otis was in the ring. You know, because Otis helped Chad beat Sami, and then he was kind of in the ring all sad. And Chad cut in front of Otis on camera, and the crowd started chanting the Kurt Angle "You suck" with his
I actually heard that. Yeah.
So I immediately went, he's getting the Kurt Angle. Yes, he's getting the Kurt Angle push. Because if the crowds get behind it and all the crowd starts to see Chad, you're Kurt Angle, that only means good things for Chad Gable. And I hope that he wins this. The only reason I'm okay with Chad losing is if Bronson wins, or if Sami wins because Otis turns on Chad, which I don't want that to happen. I don't think it should happen this soon, frankly. So I'm 100% banking on Chad Gable winning. But you've got Bronson as your number one. Wait, how do you have that book though?
I think they're so focused on each other that just finally maybe Sami hits something big and then Bronson comes in and does something bigger and just you boom boom pow it and you go kind of with the swerve and then you can continue kind of Sami and Chad on the side. Okay.
I wouldn't be mad at that because I think
I gotta go outside the box for once here because I think there's a good chance Chad gets away with it, which I'm all for. That's probably kind of what I want to see, but
I think Bronson has the ability to become this if pushed properly. Bronson has the ability to be this generation's Bam Bam or Vader if given the opportunity to do it. More so Vader, but they have to push him the right way.
That's also kind of why I'm pushing this idea is because I also feel like he could use it the most. I feel like Chad continues to do his shit where he's punishing Otis and Matera and he's feuding with Sami. That could for a problem, and then he can get the IC title later, even a world title later. I feel like Bronson's the one that kind of needs the title more.
I feel like Chad needs it to just get elevated to the next level because he's never gotten it. And then I don't need a long reign for Chad. I need Chad to get it for the clout. He can drop it to anyone, even Otis, after Otis turns on him. And then that elevates Chad to the next level, much like we're getting with Gunther. You drop the IC belt. Now Gunther's in this top tier. He hasn't there yet, but the King of the Ring win will put him in that top tier. And then Chad's kind of like right behind Gunther. They need to just start elevating him, start paying attention, which they are. Triple H is paying attention to Chad Gable. And I think with Triple H, running things now, we are going to start seeing a better version of Chad Gable, not Shorty G or whatever the fuck Vince was trying to do with him. I'm still waiting for one of these days where Chad snaps and is doing what he's doing. And Jason Jordan's one of the groups that comes down to stop it. And Chad goes, you don't get in my way, Jason. Because we've seen Jason Jordan get in skirmishes with people. And if Chad's a part of that, I want Chad to call out Jason Jordan. I don't forget about them. And I don't think anyone should forget about them as a tag team. We know Jason can't wrestle anymore, but I just want Chad to have a moment where he just talks to Jason for getting in the way. Anyway, going to the main event. We got Cody versus Logan, which was such a random ass match thrown together, but I'm not mad at it. I am glad that they did pull what they did on SmackDown, which was Logan going, I didn't sign up for my belt being on the line because, one, I think you and I are in agreement. Cody's not dropping the belt on his fucking first title defense. So why would we want Logan to lose the belt? Because what's going to happen? Cody's not going to wrestle with both titles. He's not going to pull a Seth. So then we're stuck doing what? Another tournament or a 4-way or a battle royal to decide who the U.S. champ is. I'm glad that Logan pulled this heel move and basically said, no, I'm not putting the belt on the line.
I'm torn on it just because I kind of wished maybe they had just quickly done it from the get-go. Because just to me, it said that hey, I'm challenging for your title, not my title. Maybe have him squash somebody on SmackDown and say, I defended my title for the next 30 days. I don't need to, or whatever. Just because I just feel like this even more so shows Cody's going to win. You know what I mean? Because now, very simply, Cody wins, cool. Logan's still the champ. Move on. We're the same as if nothing ever happened. This just to me really solidifies that Cody's obviously winning.
But here's the thing: even when they first interacted, they never said that the U.S. title was on the line. They never won. Cody said, "Hey, I've never been the U.S. champ. It'd be great if I won both." They never ever said that it was for both titles.
No, I mean it plays out very fair and logical. I just wish they just said from the get go or just not even acknowledge the fact that this could have been a double unification match. Just say this for the WWE title. The end. You know what I mean? Because I like that. I just feel this really puts the stamp on. Duh, Cody.
Well, I mean, it's also Cody. It's his first title defense. He ain't losing.
No, it's not. AJ. Hello?
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. He did wrestle. Which was a great match, by the way. Great match, by the way.
That was a fantastic match. That match would have been a good Ring of Honor main event. That shit was good. But no, as you said, this was just kind of random. This is unfortunately... okay, we got to build up a number one contender the next 2-3 weeks. Logan's very capable. He's fought for the title already. He had his match with Roman, so we know he can deliver a good match. He's a good heel. Bam. Let's go.
Yeah. And that, like I said, as of right now, that's the card. Unless they add something else to this.
No, but I feel like we had the same discussion for Backlash. So,
yeah.
Or for other pay-per-views. I really see a very pretty certain world where this is it, because they seem to like these 5-match shows lately.
And in all honesty, based off of our conversations, the only match that seems to be 100% locked is Cody and Logan, and then I think you and I are both locked at Gunther's winning the tournament. Women's tournament final could go either way. Could go Lyra, could go Nia or Bianca, Becky, Liv.
Yeah, we're not even sure on the match, which is kind of cool.
Exactly. I mean, we're both split on Liv and Becky. We're both split on the triple threat.
Yeah. And I do think, and I'll admit that I think Liv's a possibility. So that's fun. I enjoy a show where there's some air of maybe,
Exactly, because there's been a lot of predictability from both companies, AEW and WWE lately, where you pretty much book the entire show and know exactly what's going to happen. So having some air of, and even Double or Nothing, which we're going to be talking about here on another episode.
There'll be a little bit of duh ones in that one,
there's plenty of duh in that one. But yeah, so before we end this, guys, our last episode, we did our fantasy wrestling draft. It was our first year doing it. We are now into week 3 of this, and we told you guys when we did episodes that we were going to let you know how we've been doing in that and who's been winning, who's been losing. Obviously, we're going to give you about 2.5 weeks worth right now because we just haven't shot anything lately. First things first is that we ended up adding more points to the weeks. When we did the draft, I showed you guys what we were going to get points wise. After watching, I think, was it Backlash and Raw, I came up with 10 different other ways we could get points, and Jordan was like, cool, let's do that. So I added those. So here's the new scoring for the season. Now, some of these things we're not going to run into, like the Royal Rumble winner and stuff. So we kind of did it like a Royal Rumble Battle Royal, and then Gauntlet and Elimination Chamber. We're not going to see Elimination Chamber in our first season because we're only going till November or even August, which I'm actually loving how this is going. So I'm actually totally cool with this going to November. Eventually, maybe I'll get bored because I'm the one doing all the scoring. But this is how all the scoring is going right now. Now, week 1, which started with Backlash and then ended with SmackDown the following week, Jordan dominated that week. He basically, the main event bonus is a killer. We both have figured that out. If you have the main event and your guy wins the main event or girl wins the main event, your points are through the roof. And that's what happened with Jordan, because he had obviously the Backlash main event. He has Cody, so Cody won. And then he also had the main events on Raw and SmackDown that week. And Jordan won week 1, 439 to 404. His top performers were Cody Rhodes, got him 57 points, and then Jade and Bianca were both his top scorers that week. Mine were Tama Tonga because of the tag match at Backlash, and then Damian Priest and Bayley were my top performers after that week. So he started off strong, but then week 2 came, and I finally got to see what it was like to have the main event bonus and I obliterated Jordan in week 2. The King of the Ring has been very, very good to Sean because of the tournament. I beat Jordan 346 to 231 in week 2. Top performers of the week for me was Randy, Jay, who are both in the main events, and then Io Sky got me a lot of points. Where Jordan, Lyra has been his beacon. Actually, basically, Lyra, Bianca, and Jade have been his big contributors to his team. Gunther obviously also was huge for him that week. So far for the season total, we are at, I have the lead because of the big week 2. I have 750 and Jordan has 670. Our top performers 2 weeks into the season. For me, it's Randy Orton with 75 points, Tama Tonga with 70, and Jay Uso with 69. Jordan, it's Bianca and Jade. Bianca with 80 points, Jade with 63 points, and then Cody right behind her with 62. Going to week 3, though, Jordan has jumped out to an immense lead since this past week's Raw. Good God, his whole team was basically on Raw the entire fucking day. So going into SmackDown and the pay-per-view, Jordan has got a huge lead. He's up 265 to 143. He has scored more points on one show, which was Raw, than he did all last week. So it is going to be very, very, very hard for me to come back with SmackDown and King and Queen of the Ring, especially because I know he's got Cody, and he's got to get the main event bonus. My only saving grace will be is if one of the King or Queen of the Ring matches is the main event of King and Queen of the Ring, and not Cody versus Logan, which I doubt. That is really the only thing that's going to save my ass, unless it's the men's, because like I said, we both think Gunther's going to win, and Jordan's got Gunther, which then would still screw me regardless. But it's going to be very hard for me to win week 3. But this has actually been a lot of fun. It's actually a lot more intense watching Raw. I actually have to root for people that I don't really like Liv Morgan and Nia Jax. And then there are people who I like Chad Gable and Cody and Sami and Gunther, that I get annoyed that they win because I know it fucks me in the fantasy points. So this has actually been pretty fun, actually doing this so far. I don't skip anything anymore. I used to would fast forward through matches that I didn't give a shit about, but now I actually have to pay attention because I have to do all the points for this whole thing. But it is definitely a lot more fun. And Jordan, right where your head's at makes it look like you have a thin mohawk, and I love it. You look like one of the guys from Back to the Future too.
Yeah. I'll just say like a Craglander, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, those are the current scores for the fantasy thing. Like I said, it's been a lot of fun. We'll see how Friday and Saturday play out, and then like I said, Monday will start the new week. I'm fully intent on knowing that Jordan's probably going to finish 2-1 going into week 3 or going into week 4. But what are your guys' thoughts?
Hey, wait! Breaking news.
What the fuck? Why is it every time we shoot a show, something drops? What?
But this is very apropos.
Is it WWE or is it AEW? Because if it's AEW, we'll wait for AEW.
No. This is apropos to literally what we're talking about in this exact second. Triple H has announced that the winners of the tournaments will get championship opportunities at SummerSlam.
Hey, my dream finally came true. I've been talking this into fruition for like the last 10 years. I literally have been saying it for the last 10 years. King of the Ring needs to be important, and the winner of the King of the Ring needs to win the championship at Survivor or at SummerSlam. Thank you, Triple H, for listening. I've been begging on this for 10 plus years.
Stakes raised for the 53 minutes ago on some sites.
Fantastic. That makes me happy. But
sometimes, this was said announced on Thursday. So
that means if Gunther wins, he'll be going against Priest, or does he get to choose who he goes against, like Royal Rumble? Because it would make more sense for him to go against Cody than Priest. I feel like Damian Priest and Drew would make more sense at SummerSlam because they're starting to slowly build that up. But unless Punk's available by SummerSlam, I'm not sure. It'll be interesting. That's great. That's fantastic. That makes me so happy. Which I even more so. Oh, actually, that actually might give a little bit of a bump to Randy Orton. Maybe. I still think Gunther's winning, but that gives a little more bump for Randy to potentially win. I think that fully gives either Bianca or Nia Jax the win over Lyra, though, because I don't think Lyra main eventing for the women's in SummerSlam is something that they're ready to do yet. So I feel like that almost guarantees Bianca or Nia is winning the women's side. What are you reading more? You look like you're.
It is their respective brand.
Okay, so if Gunther wins, he'll go against Priest. If Randy wins, he goes against Cody.
Yeah. So I just want to say, it's a 47-second clip of Triple H on stage announcing this.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I almost.
So it would be Gunther, Priest, and it would be whoever. And
that almost. God, I almost feel like that almost gives Randy some clout to win.
To fight Cody? Oh,
yeah. Instead of Gunther and
Cody
Damian.
And you don't think Cody and SummerSlam?
I think Rock's too busy. I think Rock's too busy shooting. He's shooting an MMA film right now.
Yeah, but this is literally May, buddy.
But then he's got to get in training. He's got to get in training mode again. I feel like. Plus, here and this is nothing against Cleveland. Cincinnati is a home to me. I don't see Rock going to Cleveland for a big show. I see Rock either coming back for Survivor Series, Rumble, or it's Mania. I don't see it happening.
Why Survivor Series? I completely disagree that he would come back to Survivor Series before.
Survivor Series is where The Rock debuted, man.
Survivor Series, and they had a tribute to him, and he didn't even fucking show up, or
because he was busy. The great one was busy.
He didn't even film a Twitter. Thank you. He didn't give a shit. Survivor Series is not as big as SummerSlam.
No, it's not. It's not, which is why it's weird that they're in Cleveland. Nothing against Cleveland. I just don't think The Rock's going to go to Cleveland.
Damn. No, I don't agree with that at all. I don't give a shit one way or the other about Cleveland. About most places. That's not a Cleveland knock. But SummerSlam's there. Rock's going to go where SummerSlam is.
They did just announce today that in 2026, SummerSlam is going to Minneapolis, and it's going to be a 2-day event. So SummerSlam's going to
2026.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It's gonna be August 1st and August 2nd, and it's gonna be a 2-day event like WrestleMania, and it's gonna be in Minneapolis, which I might be able to go to because my best friend lives in Minneapolis, and I know he's gonna want to go, and I might actually be there for that show. So we don't know if that's it's like 2.5 years away. We got a ways to go from that. But yeah, they announced that today. But yeah. So anything else you'd like to add before we end this episode?
No. No, I do look forward to the show actually, and I don't mind too that it'll be one of those that it'll be done, and I'll probably be making lunch in the middle of it, and then it'll be done before dinner.
I will be at work, so I won't get to watch it until Saturday night. So I gotta stay off of everything.
I'm gonna be messaging you all the spoilers, talking about how Goldberg came out.
I'll just make sure to ignore you I put you on sleep mode for.
I can't believe Shane McMahon just won King of the Ring.
He came out and said, "This is the best of the world tournament, and I'm winning."
Yeah.
God, that was just one of the dumbest things he ever did. But yeah, so I won't get to watch it until Saturday night because I work until 7 p.m. that night, so I won't be able to watch it. I told my girlfriend that she could watch it without me. I don't whether she will or not. That'll be a totally different situation. And then of course
I'll send her the link, or maybe me and will live stream it.
But anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you guys' thoughts are. Who you guys think are going to win the King and Queen of the Ring? Now that we know 100% that the winner is going to get a title shot at SummerSlam. I'm glad you flipped that up because once again, every time we shoot, something drops. Either someone's gotten injured or a match has gotten changed. Something always changes when we're shooting these episodes.
The sign I looked at, it said 53 minutes ago or something like that. We started at 59, so
yeah, literally 6 minutes.
Legitimately 5, 6, 7 minute increments.
1,000% always fucking happens to us. Always happens to us when we do this, without fail. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit that like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos pop up on the Wrestling Crusaders. And don't forget to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, Jordan and I are not going anywhere because we have AEW's Double or Nothing on Sunday. So we're going to go over the card for that, tell us what our thoughts and predictions are for that show. It's a very busy wrestling weekend. And, of course, next week we'll be back to talk about the results. First off, JD McDonough is starting to do that shit, and I think that's pissing Triple H off.
Good for him.
Have you noticed that he's doing that? He like when he's there and they're doing the joint, he's doing the turn, and then boom, and he goes. I was like, dude, don't push that shit.
I bet you he's okay with it.
Oh, he probably told you. Go ahead and do it, man. Watch the Marks lose their shit over it. Anyway, we're gonna be back next week to talk about the results for both shows. And we'll obviously talk about how week 3 of the fantasy ends up. Like I said, Jordan's probably going to beat the shit out of me because he's already doing it right now. And then we'll see exactly where we are going into week 4.
Good for you.
Yes. You literally called it last week, too, because I told you, like, dude, I whooped your ass. And you're like, I'm coming for you. And then you went right back around and whooped my ass on Monday.
Well, it's going to happen, though. We're going to have those weeks.
It is. We got plenty of weeks left of this fantasy. It's only May, and we're going for another 6 months. But anyway, we are the Wrestling Crusaders. I'm Sean Waskrook. That is Jordan JPO Owens.
That was me.
And yes, and until next time, in case we don't see you, don't try this at home unless it's on your little brother. Don't tell mom.
So, goodbye. And good night. Bang!